Shandy. Welcome back to the Dear Shandy Bachelor Recap Fashion Police listeners. That's quite the mouthful. And you guys seem to like these, so that's great.
Yeah, you did a good job.
Me?
Yeah, you did a good job. You're good at fashion.
Yeah, it's so funny. I'm flattered when people say that. I just feel like it's so obvious. Like, I just know what I like. I'm like, clearly, that's the best thing.
But that's what a natural thinks.
I'm honored. Thank you. But yeah, you guys seem to like these. And so we will continue on with episode 2.
Yeah.
Andy, people wanted to know more from you.
I was very surprised.
In general, people wanted to know your straight man's perspective on women's fashion. So here we are. So I have 3 picks for my best dressed department. First, I have an honorable mention. And this goes to Gabby with that first group date during the day. She wore a 70s inspired denim, sort of crisscross front jumpsuit. She wore it with a chunky heel and tasteful little hoops. And I just thought she looked fantastic. You know, she was in a sea of denim cutoffs and various types of tank tops or t-shirts. And this just had so much flair, so much personality. It was fun, but still sophisticated. She made a statement, but it also didn't take itself too seriously. It fit her like a glove. Yeah. Anyway, she stood out. It was definitely my favorite casual look of the week. And now my runner-up is Eliza with her rose ceremony outfit. So she was wearing a sheer nude mini dress with a sort of interesting quasi bustier detail and sort of asymmetrical like draping in the front. I loved also her earrings. She had like pow earrings. They really stood out, and I think dressed things up because the dress, while it had a lot of interest, was sort of subdued and nude colored. And so she had these like, you know, really glitzy earrings that I thought complemented the dress really well. Her hair looked lovely, but you know what my beef is going to be. And I think this might have been the reason why she got docked down to runner up, was the fact that it was covering the entire top of her dress. And I was craning for a better look. I wanted to see how the straps worked. Were they the same on each side? Did the draping go all the way over the sleeve or the strap? It was very frustrating. I was sad, but it did. It made me sad. That's honest. Because I really liked this dress and I just wanted to know more about it. And her hair was in the way, as beautiful as it looked.
Shame on her.
Shame on her. Okay. And then my best dressed goes to NC. Also from the rose ceremony. She was wearing a pale yellow one-shoulder gown with a sort of cutout detail, and the strap was embellished and had this sort of knot detail. It was silk, but pale yellow, which you don't see often. The embellished strap was different. You just don't see any of these things very often. It was very cool, but still formal. And we got to talk about her styling. I mean, her hair was back, not severely back, but just sort of like romantic back. And it just complemented the dress so well. My only thing that's giving me a little pause is the fact that we didn't see much of it. It was just in that one scene where she's sitting.
I agree. Actually, that also caught my eye.
But
I didn't see enough to be able to make a full determination.
Yeah, here, I'm going out on a limb. I'm taking a risk. Maybe I'll see the back of that dress and be like, ah! It's possible. Sometimes that happens to me a lot when I'm shopping. Actually, I'll see something from the front and be like, ooh, and then I'll turn it around and I'll be like, ah.
And happens with people too.
Sorry? It happens with people.
That's not appropriate for the fashion segment.
Anyway, she looked beautiful, and it kept me wanting more. Again, it always comes down to, did I want to get a better look at whatever the person was wearing?
Yeah.
And in the case of all 3 of these, I did. And NC just took it up a notch. She took it to another level. She looked fantastic. Okay, Andy. So you have one best and one worst dressed. And so will you tell us your best dressed now?
As much as it pains my heart to give this very poorly behaved woman credit, my best dress was Shandy. On, I believe, the group date number 2.
Yes. She was wearing a sort of wine-colored jumpsuit that had sort of cutout details on the sides, sort of fitted up top, kind of wide leg, but nothing crazy down below. Her hair was down. Yeah. She looked nice. But I'm curious, it's not that I didn't like this jumpsuit. I'm just not sure I would have been like, ooh, that. So can you tell us why?
Well, first of all, I'd like to say this. My analysis of the fashion is absolute garbage.
Okay.
But what you're getting is my gut reaction. I saw her and I was like, I like that. I don't know exactly why. I can try. Want me to try?
Yeah, try.
I think a jumpsuit in general is a classy look.
Okay.
It's a streamlined, sleek look. I always find it looks, and also there was some nice revealing parts, but not too much revealing.
Okay.
So it's subtle, but
kept
I
you
see,
wanting more.
it makes me, want to investigate.
Yeah.
Something I feel like if I gave her a hug, it'd be a good hug.
So that's interesting. You talk about this a lot, and we first brought it up in a recent wedding episode.
Yeah.
But you are really focused on touchability.
Texture, for me, is a big deal in food and women's clothing.
So it's so interesting because while I liked this jumpsuit fine, it really didn't stand out to me. Like, it seemed like something I've seen many times before. I don't think I would have picked it out on a rack. It was a nice jumpsuit.
I guess what it comes down to is I don't need a woman to make a statement with her fashion.
Okay.
I just kind of want to know what I'm looking at. I want to know what I'm dealing with.
Yeah, I think that's a big difference. It's like, I'm really interested in something I've never seen before. Mm-hmm. Like, if I've seen that jumpsuit 100 times before, I'm like, okay, like, it's nice, but I've seen it before. And you're like, I don't care. I know what she looks like she has a nice body in it.
I hate to say it. I'm a man. I just, unfortunately, this is what it is.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. All right. Now we will talk about worst dressed. I have 2 honorable mentions for worst dressed and then just 1 worst dressed. So first up with an honorable mention is Clayton. In that first group date in the evening, he wore a nice blazer. I actually liked this. It was sort of like a window pane check blazer. It was blue. And then underneath it, and again, this is a cocktail party. All the women are wearing dresses. Underneath it, he's wearing this white hoodie. And look, I get that wearing a hoodie under things right now is very in, and I think it can look really cool. I just think that if it's the evening and you're wearing a blazer, if you are going to go with a hoodie, maybe do a black hoodie or something that doesn't make it's like the star of the show is this white hoodie. The strings were hanging down, the hood was out there, and I was just like, well, are you casual or are you going dressy? Which is it? So not my favorite look. And then my other honorable mention was Melina, sadly, with this second group date daytime outfit. So she was wearing these denim cutoffs with this long sleeve purple silk top that was like tied like under the boobs here. And it was like that was it. Like it was sort of like almost flirting with being a bikini top, but it was silk and she was wearing it with cutoffs. Like the material was really dressy, but everything else about it was casual. Look, she has an amazing body and it takes balls to wear this, but I was just like, what are you dressing for exactly? I was confused by this.
I don't recall the look.
Okay.
But that in itself is testimony.
And then my worst dressed is unfortunately, I hate to have Melina on my worst dress list again, but in this first group date, I was not a fan of this combination. I feel like Melina has a tendency to go too far in the styling / accessorizing department. I'll start with the good. Okay. So she had a center part and her hair was sleek and just down straight. It was lovely. And also she was wearing a nude lip gloss this time instead of that terracotta lipstick from last week. And I thought it looked beautiful. So I'm starting with the good here. Now for the bad. Her dress was a sort of iridescent metallic rainbow like taffeta situation. There was a lot going on, a lot of colors. And then on top of that, she was wearing like at least 4 necklaces that sort of didn't seem to go with the theme of the dress at all. It just was like a lot. And then she was wearing these tiered earrings. I'm pretty sure they're the Melina earrings by Bubble Bar, actually, and I'll link them below. I did a little sleuthing on this. I actually didn't mind the earrings. It was just so much. It was like these drop earrings with all these necklaces with like iridescent taffeta rainbow dress. It was too much. Coco Chanel famously said that before you leave the house, you should look in the mirror and remove 1 item. And I feel like that adage could have served Melina well with this look.
It's not served me well, though.
Yeah, you would. Things would go south
half
pretty
naked.
fast.
But I agree that was weak. I remember that. All around, I'm not a big fan. I don't know all the fancy words you're using. Taffeta. That's a new one for me, but I will say that I was not into it.
Okay, and Andy, your worst dressed.
Unfortunately, were piling on to Marlena, but I wasn't a big fan of that pink promy kind of dress operation she had going on.
Yeah. Okay, so Marlena was wearing a bright pink satin, sort of poofy sleeved, long sleeved dress. Yeah, this stood out to you. It was not my favorite either, if I'm honest. For me, the shade of pink kind of missed the mark. If you are going to go that bright a pink. Actually, Melina's dress from last week was a better shade, but my issue was with her styling. This shade of pink felt a little dated, actually, and not planting a flag in neon territory and going full throttle neon pink.
That's exactly what I felt. I felt if you're going to go with that, you got to go full 80s ironic. You can't do a little 80s like that, and then everything else is not 80s.
Yeah, I agree. It had a slight 80s vibe, but not in a self-aware enough way, or at least not in a modernized way where it pulled away from the 80s enough. I agree. I wasn't a big fan of this dress.
I don't like dresses that seem like something where you could be a supporting character in like a Disney production.
Oh, okay. So it felt costumey to you.
I guess the word is costume. Yeah, it felt a little costumey. Princessy, but not good princessy.
I think that's it then. Sorry to Melina and Marlena.
Ooh, not a good night to have a name beginning in Ma or ending in Ina.
Yeah, they both seem lovely, but yeah, we just weren't big fans of those. Nothing personal. Yeah. But I think, Andy, that's a wrap then for this week's Fashion Police.
All right.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Be sure to comment below with your favorite or least favorite looks. We'll see you next week on the Dear Shandy Fashion Police. Bye. Dear Shandy.